AITA for telling my wife it's wrong to force our daughter to play with her cousin. My wife has 2 sisters and is close to both. Their mom died when they were young, so they bonded over the loss and became very close. We have 2 kids. Chris, 16M, and Kaylee, 13F. My wife's old sister also has 2 kids. Owen, 17M, and Emma, 16F. They live about 5 minutes from us and our kids attend the same school. They have always hung out as a group of 3. My Chris and their Emma are a week apart in age and Owen is only a little over a year older, so they grew up together and used to call themselves triplets. They are still quite close. My wife's younger sister has a daughter, Gia, who is 3 months older than mine. The younger sister always made comments when our girls were babies about how she can't wait until they are the ages of the big kids, meaning Chris, Owen, and Emma, because they'll be just as close. The problem is that Kaylee doesn't like hanging out with Gia, and it's becoming more obvious as they get older that they are 2 different people. Kaylee likes soccer and video games. Gia isn't allowed to play video games and isn't interested in sports. Kaylee is a social butterfly and Gia is a homebody. All of this was manageable, but Gia also has some more immature interest. She still enjoys playing with dolls and engages in pretend play. For example, when Kaylee goes over their house to sleep over, she says Gia likes playing school or mommies. Playing school means they set up all of the stuffed animals and pretend to teach them. Mommies is when they play with the baby dolls and pretend to be mommies. I have nothing against pretend play and think it's nice that Gia doesn't feel pressure to grow up too fast, but it's clear that Kaylee and her are on different wavelengths. Now that things are opening back up, Gia's mom said she can't wait to have Kaylee over. Kaylee said she doesn't want to sleep over Gia's. She said she'll still interact with Gia at family events, but doesn't want to sleep over there anymore or go over to play. This upset my wife a lot. She said Kaylee doesn't get a say. Later that night I told my wife I sided with Kaylee. I don't think she should be forced to hang out with Gia. My wife flipped and said that I am an only child, so I will never understand her family values and how this isn't up for discussion. I told her that wasn't fair. Kaylee should get a say, and she said that you don't get a say when it comes to family. We argued for a while before I told her that we would be having this discussion later, and she didn't talk to me for the rest of the night. Was I the asshole? I haven't brought it up again, but plan to unless I am totally in the wrong. Edit, I thought I made this clear, but will say it again because of the comments I am getting. Kaylee is not interested in hanging out with Gia other than for full family events. For example, we normally have dinner with my wife's sisters and dad every Sunday. Kaylee is fine hanging out with Gia then, but doesn't want to be on that. Additional info, other than her immature interest, Gia is a normal 13-year-old girl. Edit, Gia does cry when she doesn't get her way, and that's another reason Kaylee is no longer enjoying playing with her cousin. I wouldn't say it's tantrum behavior. Her mom and my wife think it's just hormones and normal, but she locks herself in the bathroom until she pulls herself together. I should have mentioned that earlier, but my wife and her sisters think it's normal teen girl stuff. Edit, sorry for so many edits. Just trying to paint a clearer picture. Last summer Gia and Kaylee hung out about 4 to 5 days a week. Now, this was normal for Chris, Emma, and Owen when they were 12/13ths. I would say they were over more often than that and had sleepovers most nights. They have a lot of the same friends since they go to the same school and play some of the same sports. My wife and younger sister are trying to recreate this with Kaylee and Gia, but Kaylee doesn't want it. Again, she is okay with the weekly dinners, but doesn't want the one-on-one playdates and sleepovers with Gia. I am getting a lot of heat over the word immature. All I meant by that is Kaylee, who stopped playing mommies a long time ago, sees it as immature. If Kaylee suggests another game, then Gia cries and locks herself in the bathroom. To me that is childlike behavior, but I do not think any less of Gia because of this. I do not dislike her. I love her like she is my own blood. I am very sorry for hurting people with the use of the word immature. Update 2. I talked to my wife about everything and she agreed she overreacted. She said that after her mom died she felt like it was her job to hold the family together. She is the middle child, so she felt like she was the link between her two sisters. Their dad stressed to them how much they needed to stick together, and that is where the weekly family dinner started. It was a way to bring everyone together. When my wife got pregnant with our son Chris at the same time her older sister got pregnant with her daughter Emma, my wife said it felt like fate, especially since her older sister's son Owen would only be a little more than a year older than both kids. My wife said watching all three of them bond like they did made her proud, because she knew it is what her mom would want. Even now the kids are close. My son slept over their house last night. They play some school sports together, have classes together, share some friends, and sit at the same lunch table. When we found out we were having Kaylee only a few months after Gia was born, my wife and her sister imagined the girls growing up together the same way the older three did. For a while they did, but now that they're growing apart it has been hard on both my wife and her younger sister. When the older three were in middle school they hung out every day in the summer, but that was by choice and usually with a larger common friend group. I explained to my wife that this is different because we would be forcing Kaylee to miss out on time with her friends to spend with her cousin multiple times a week, even though they have virtually nothing in common. My wife apologized to Kaylee and talked to her sister about giving the girls some time apart. We will still see them once a week for Sunday dinners, but we aren't going to force it. My wife's sister was upset because Kaylee is Gia's only friend, but said she will just have to spend more time with Gia to make her feel special. My wife and I feel bad, but we want to make sure our daughter knows that she has the right to say no and have that be respected if she isn't comfortable with a situation, even when it's family. That's where the story ends. Please consider subscribing to keep up to date on this post and other daily Reddit content.